Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing the A to Z book tag. So I was not tagged in this, but I saw Nat from Nerdy Nat Reads do it. So I will have a link to her video in the cards and the description, as well as the original creator, who I believe is a blogger, and I will have that blog post listed for you too. I used to do a lot of tags once upon a time, and I feel like I haven't done them in a while. So I feel like that is something that I will start to reincorporate into my content, maybe like once or twice a month, depending on what I can find and what I like. I know a lot of people do or used to do Tag Tuesdays. I'm not gonna do that, but I will do some more tags here and there. First question is an author you've read the most books from, and that definitely has to be Christina C. Jones, because I have decided that I want to work my way through her backlist, and she has so many books, which is wonderful because I love Black romance and she's probably my favorite author for it. But I've definitely read the most from her, not only this year but also last year, and probably just in general. Next is best sequel ever. I'm gonna give this to The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I love the Poppy War trilogy. It is a trilogy that I loved from start to finish. I gave all three books either a 4.75 or a 5-star, and if I remember correctly, 1 and 3 got 4.75, but The Dragon Republic got 5, and I love that book so much. There was a twist in that one that I predicted, but even though I knew what was going to happen, it was still very satisfying to know that I was correct. Also, it's just so good. That is definitely a series that I think I need to reread, but I love that series, and I especially love The Dragon Republic. C is for currently reading, and I'm currently reading two things. First is Handbook for a Post-Row America. This has been on my TBR for a really long time, and I'm finally getting to it and liking it so far. I'm not that far in, but it is a very good read, very relevant to the time. And then I'm also reading Sword of Kaigen, and I am also enjoying that one. I think I'm getting to a part where things are really about to hit the fan, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Drink of choice while reading. So I drink water more than anything. Occasionally I will have maybe a glass of wine. So if I had to choose, like if I'm really settling into wind down, I'll definitely have a glass of wine. But otherwise I really don't drink like soda or anything like that. It's usually water, maybe a coffee in the morning, and if I have wine, I'll have that too. E-reader or physical book? Both. We read in all formats over here: ebook, audiobook, physically, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I do a blended read with a physical copy in the audio, or even an ebook in the audio. It really doesn't matter. I will do it all. F is for fictional character that you probably would have dated in high school. I don't know. I'm gonna rephrase this question a little bit and just do fictional character that you would date, because I have 2 videos talking about book boyfriends, and so definitely someone from one of those. But like in high school, I was a very different person back then, and high school me and current me, we don't have the same taste, so we're not gonna do high school. But if I had to pick my favorite book boyfriend currently, it might be Vincent from The Kiss Countdown. I love that book so much. I know I've been talking about that a lot lately, but it's such a good book. G is glad you gave this book a chance. I will say Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. I did a white man fantasy vlog a little while ago. I'll have that linked in the cards in the description for you, because I don't read fantasy written by white men, and I wasn't really expecting to enjoy any of them, but Theft of Swords was a pleasant surprise, and I'm really excited to continue that series later this year. Next is a hidden gem book. Ooh, I would pick The Accidental Queen by L.R. Jackson. I don't know if this book was independently published. I do know that she is with a publisher now, and I actually found her through TikTok. She was promoting the book, talking about one of her characters. I commented on it, she sent me a copy, and I loved it. It was one of my favorite reads, I think, of 2022, and it's such a good book, and I'm really excited because it's getting a companion novel series about the best friends, and I think it's gonna be really good. But I don't know that many people have read this book, and I really, really like it, so I want more people to read it. Important moment in your reading life. I guess it would be discovering BookTube, which I did right before the pandemic, which is when I started my channel, was during the pandemic. So I guess that works. Also, I mean, I've met a lot of friends through it. So Robin and Dasha are my besties, as y'all know. I love Jess and Bree, Ashley, Heather, Nicole. So I've met so many people through this, and it's been a good time. So yeah. J is for just finish. What did I just finish reading? Pardon My Frenchie by Farrah Roshan. I had an arc of it. It comes out June 4th, I believe. It was good. It was okay. I'm very particular about romance, so take what I say with a grain of salt. It wasn't my favorite. There were some tropes in there that I just didn't like, but I'm very picky about my tropes. But I think in general, romance readers will enjoy it, especially if you're a dog lover. Kinds of books you won't read. I don't read a lot of literary fiction anymore, not like for any particular reason. Literary fiction, historical fiction are just not, like, I'm more excited about reading fantasy and romances now, so that's what I go to. Dark romance, I think one day I'll give it a try. I don't foresee it going well though, so. Longest book you've ever read? That's a good question. I think at least this year, Mistborn was pretty long, wasn't it? Or The Final Empire, I gotta call that book by its actual name. I don't know. Major book hangover because of, I think when I read Sinful Vow by Asia Monique, that, like, I was coasting on a high from that one. It was so good, and like, I knew that I was gonna like it because Heather had talked about it so much, but also it was my first time reading mafia romance, so I was like, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. And then I finished it and I was just like, oh, I love it. And then I immediately had to go and read the rest of the series. But yeah, I think I would go with that. I feel like I haven't had that feeling in a while, aside from the Kids Countdown. And as for number of bookcases you own, these two are the only ones. And originally I did want more, but I think I'm just gonna stick with these two, especially because I've been purging a lot of the books on my physical TBR, trying to get through them, deciding if I want to keep them, DNF them, unhaul them, whatever the case may be. So I will stick with these two for now. One book you've read multiple times. I do reread, I just don't do it super often. When was the last time I reread? Oh, I reread both Heir of Flames and Sinful Enforcer. Last year, I read them twice in the same year because that's how much I loved them. And I will be rereading Heir of Flames when the final book comes out in that series. I had an arc of book 2, and I'm hoping she gets book 3 out this year, but I definitely want to reread and binge the series and do a series review for them. Preferred place to read. I read on my couch a lot. I also read in bed. I usually will like read physical books if I'm in my living room, and then I'll read my Kindle when I'm laying down because I have the Kindle stand. I don't have the remote yet, it's sitting in my cart, but once I have the remote, that's gonna be a game changer. Talk about lazy girl reading. I get to stay under the covers and still change the page. Wonderful, can't wait. Ooh, this next one's hard. A quote that inspires you or gives you all the feels. Ooh, for this one, I'm gonna go with Heir of Flames. I don't know the quote off the top of my head, but I'll put it up on the screen for you. Adrian is so fucking dramatic and over the top, but this quote, I love it. Reading regret. I don't know if I have any regrets when it comes to reading, although I will say there are a lot of books that I have read that I had for a long time or was putting off for whatever reason and wish that I had read them sooner. Like Daughters of Jubilation, I really enjoyed. Beasts of Prey, I ended up loving. Poison Heart was really good. And all things that I had on my shelves and that had just been sitting there for like ever. And I'd look at them and be like, yeah, I'm gonna read that one day. And then it would take forever to do it, and I gotta stop doing that. S is a series that you started and need to finish. All the books are complete. There's probably a ton. I will say this is like my toxic book trait, is starting duologies that are complete and not finishing them. There's only 2 books. It's the easiest series to complete. Why does it take me so long? I don't know. 3 of your all-time favorite books. Number 1, Raybearer. You knew it was coming. Sinful Vow, the first in the Mafia Misfits series. In an effort to pick different genres, I'll go with The Couple Next Door by Charlotte Payne because it was messy. That one's a mystery. Raybearer's fantasy, YA fantasy, and Sinful Vow is obviously romance. You is Unapologetic Fangirl 4 and Christina C. Jones. Even though I wanted to fight her in my first round of authors that I would square up with, and in my most recent round of characters that I wanted to square up with, I had 3 from one of her series. I still love her. And she even has me contemplating reading vampires. I don't like vampires, but if anybody could convert me to a vampire girly, it would be CC J. V is very excited for this release more than the others, and that is The Ending Fire by Sarah El Arifi. I know that this series gets a lot of mixed reviews, but I loved The Final Strife. I really enjoyed the battle drum. I'm really excited for this conclusion. I have it pre-ordered. I can't wait to read it. I'm rereading books 1 and 2. I am getting ready. I think that this is going to be such an epic finale, and I really hope that it is. I really hope that she sticks the landing. Worst bookish habit: starting a series, not finishing it. As I talked about with duologies, it's even worse with series that have more than just a few books. I think the only series that I diligently caught up on was Mafia Misfits. Everything else, listen, I look at my series spreadsheet once a month at least. Does that motivate me to do better? Not really. Because at the end of the day, every time I finish one, I start 5 more. I can't help it. It's just how it is. X marks the spot. Start at the top left of your bookshelf and pick the 27th book. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Daughters of Jubilation, which I did finally read after having it for a very long time. I think Deshauna sent me this for Juneteenth, and I didn't read it until this year. Loved it. Wish I read it sooner. It made me cry, which I definitely wasn't fucking expecting, but yeah, if you haven't read this, you should. It's a historical fiction with magical realism, historical fantasy. I don't know, but it's good. Your latest book purchase. What if I didn't purchase it? When was the last time I bought a book? I genuinely don't know the last time that I actually bought a book for myself. Wait, I can tell you the last thing that I pre-ordered. The Lotus Empire by Tasha Suri. Does that count? I'm gonna say that counts. Z Snatcher book. Last book that kept you up way too late. When was the last time I stayed up to read? I was definitely reading something on my Kindle. Oh wait, no, it was the Kiss Countdown. Alright, so those are all of my answers for the A to Z book tag. I'm not going to tag anyone, but if you see this and feel so inclined, consider yourself tagged. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I mentioned, if they're on your TBR. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.